Welcome to Sumita Roy's English Classroom. I'm Professor Sumita Roy, and today's video is on speaking accurately. Till now, there have been a few videos on speaking fluently, and there I have mentioned that you have to just think of speaking and not worry about whether you're speaking correctly or not. But remember, as you progress in your speaking, as you go to a higher level, to a better English, there accuracy is important. First, we try to acquire fluency. We don't wait for accuracy because if you wait for perfection, you don't learn. So speak as much as you can, speak as little as you can, make as many mistakes as you can. But that is the first level. Now we are graduating to a higher level. And there you are going to speak to people who expect you to speak correctly, who expect you to use the language as it is supposed to be used. That is speaking accurately. Today I will tell you a few points about how accuracy suffers and what you can do to change that. There are many people who use the nouns or pronouns wrongly. For instance, you hear many people saying, me and my family. We don't start the sentence by saying, me and my family, because me is the object pronoun and the subject pronoun is I. Also, in the order of pronouns, we never use I first, we use the second or third person. So you say, my family and I, not me and my family. See, the meaning wise, there is no problem. If you say, me and my family went out yesterday, meaning is all right. People have understood what you're saying. That is our basic communication. That when we speak, people understand the meaning. But there are certain formal contexts, there are certain formal situations where you are judged by how correct your English is. So when you say me and my family, immediately the listener says, okay, I have understood your meaning, but I have also seen that you're not using English correctly. Think of your own mother tongue. You speak it accurately. But when somebody is learning your mother tongue, they make many mistakes. Don't you think in your mind that this person can be understood, but this person is making mistakes in the use of the language? So there are certain situations where we need to be careful about how we use the language. This is not only for the learners at the beginning or mid-level. I have seen that even many experienced teachers who have been teaching the language might make mistakes. So it is not as though only few people make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. You will find a child learning English as the mother tongue. A small child learning English as the mother tongue makes many mistakes. They say, I does, you does. Okay, the child is learning. In a year or two, the child would have learned well. But if we continue to make these mistakes, even after learning English for 5, 6 years, English as a second language, not English as the mother tongue, then we have to find out why we are making these mistakes. George Bernard Shaw had a very interesting play. You might remember I did one play of Bernard Shaw, which was a very serious play, St. John. Here is a play called Pygmalion. Pygmalion was a Greek character. Here, Shaw's idea is how people mispronounce the mother tongue. All of them are speaking English, but they mispronounce their own mother tongue because they are lay persons, they are common people, not educated people. So the story is about a flower girl who mispronounces. It was made into a movie which all of you can see, My Fair Lady. How the professor of phonetics takes up a flower selling girl and makes her speak standard English, structured formal English. There's a beautiful song in that movie where there is mispronunciation because this young girl who's selling flowers in London uses the language which is Cockney. It is a dialect of English. So she says, the Rhine in spine falls mindly on the plines. Now she is using the sound A. I have taught you the sounds in a video of beginner's pronunciation. So you can go back to that video and see. The actual pronunciation is the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plains. So all the sounds are A. But this young girl pronounced it as I. The Rhine in spine. So the rain in Spain. Rain is pronounced as Rhine. Spain is pronounced as spine. Falls mainly. Mainly is pronounced as mindly. And plains is pronounced as plines. So all this mispronunciation. It's a very interesting movie for learners of English, for people who know English or who teach English. All of you can try to get it and watch it. You will learn a lot of pronunciation there and the process of learning pronunciation. So you see, accuracy is important. Now, there are three things which you have to remember in accuracy. Number one, of course, is grammar. I'm spending a lot of time preparing videos on grammar where the script is there in front of your eyes, explanation is there, and examples and exercises are also there. This will help you to check if you know already some good grammar. I was watching something on Facebook, some advertisement for English teachers. Now, all those who have responded to that advertisement are English teachers themselves, but many of them made mistakes which are grammatical mistakes, the use of grammar. Suppose somebody says, please help me. Then if you reply, sure, I help you. Meaning is clear, but the verb help is not correct here. I told you in the simple tenses video that help, which is a simple present tense, is a universal tense. It can be used everywhere. But in this sentence, it cannot be used because the correct form is sure, I will help you. It's not talking about the past or the present. It is talking about the future. It is making a commitment. It is making a promise. So please help me. Sure, I will help you. Such a simple mistake we often ignore. We don't bother about it. So we just leave it there. Very often it is the article which is mistaken. Somebody was communicating with me yesterday, said that I have YouTube channel, can you help? Here what is missing is I have a YouTube channel. Ear sound is there, so we use article a. I'll do a video on articles, but I'm scared these days that if I make videos on grammar, many of you are ignoring those. You are not watching them because you feel that grammar doesn't give you quick English. Everybody wants everything quick. like instant coffee. But please remember that quick English might not be accurate English. Somebody says, I speaking well. Here, what you require is, I am speaking well. That is the continuous form. Somebody says, let's have dinner. Then you say, I have already eaten. I ate, if you say, that is not correct. Because if you say, I ate, that means you want to eat again. I have explained this in the perfect tenses video. So when you learn grammar, you become better. You say that I'm going to home. I am going to home. Meaning clear. No problem is there in the meaning. But we don't use to preposition for home. We can say, I'm going to my house. I'm going to my flat. I'm going to my apartment. All these are places where you use to because they are all nouns. Home is not a noun, please remember. Therefore, we don't need a preposition. We say, I'm going home without to. Going to home is not correct. Similarly, listen, which needs to, and you miss it out. You say that I'm listening music. I'm listening you, or I'm listening lecture. So here you have to say, I'm listening to music, or I'm listening to your lecture, or to a lecture, if you want to say. Just I'm listening to lecture is not correct again, because the word lecture requires a qualifier. I will do adjectives, I will do articles in our grammar videos. But please understand, it takes time to do them. Therefore, don't get impatient. Now, the first point I told you about is grammar. So, I gave you a few examples here. You can replay the whole video to see how these examples work as far as grammar is concerned. I started with pronunciation when I gave you the example of the movie My Fair Lady, based on Bernard Shaw's play Pygmalion. So Pygmalion, My Fair Lady, you can use for pronunciation. I have given you some videos on pronunciation. For instance, if you say lamb, Lamb, we don't say lamb. B is not pronounced. It is silent. So we say lamb, and the sound ends there. Or the word comb. Comb is, B is there again, COMB, but we are not saying. Then we have a word like debt. DEBT is written, but we don't pronounce B. We don't say debt, we say debt. So these are silent. The alphabet is there, but it is silent. For instance, we have the word fine. We, we have FINE. E is also there. But we are not pronouncing that E. We are not saying fine. A sound is not there. We are saying fine. F-I-N. We are ending at N. That E is not used at all. Then we have certain sounds which are written, with many things but not pronounced. For instance, we have pneumonia. Pneumonia is not pronounced with P, although it is written with P. We say P in front, but we don't say, in pronunciation, we don't use that P. Similarly, we have psychology. We start with PS, but we don't pronounce the P. We say psychology with sir. These are things which you notice when you correct your pronunciation. So pronunciation is important for speaking, and the better your pronunciation is, the better attention or inspiration you will be when you speak. We have different pronunciations in the world. English is used now globally. So, in different parts of the world, we have different English pronunciation. That is why, in writing or speaking, there are different variations. Therefore, we use the word today, Englishes. Some of you had problems with pronunciation in these videos. For them, let me repeat this, that we have Englishes, but we have to have a standard English of a particular area. Like we have a standard Indian English. So when we are talking about pronunciation or when we are talking about usage, we have a standard Indian English. We call it GIE, General Indian English. Similarly, in UK, you have another variety. You have, uh, so many differences between UK English and US English. You go down south, Australian English. You go to the Caribbean. You go to the African countries, Anglophone African countries. Anglophone is where English is spoken. You also have Francophone. Similarly, in Canada, you have Anglophone and Francophone parts. So, France, some places where French is spoken and some places where English is spoken. So, wherever English is spoken, there we have to follow the standard of that area. Now, suppose you learn Indian English, the standard Indian English, and you move to UK or you move to Australia or US. What happens is that you have a good foundation in English already. Your English is accurate. The only problem you have is the accent change. This you can make up in just a few days. You don't require a long time. There are many people who contact me from different parts of the world, but what they are looking for is the foundation of English. They are not really looking for, the accent or the intonation of that country. They are looking for the foundation. Therefore, pronunciation you can acquire very easily. But when you want grammar, you need to learn it. But please remember, learning grammar perfectly without practicing it in real life is of no use. But you must practice grammar and pronunciation. The third important point for correct English is vocabulary. You must use the right word at the right time. I remember in our childhood, Reader's Digest brought out a volume with this title, Right Word at the Right Time. It is a very interesting book. Where to use which word? Suppose you want to ask somebody where they live. You say, where is your residence? You're using the correct word. There is no problem. Residence means house. But in informal spoken English, we don't use such a big word. We can say, where do you stay? Where do you live? Where is your house? All this you can say. So, vocabulary is not only learning big words, vocabulary is the ability to use the words which you know in the right places. If you misuse a word, then it is not correct. Sometimes we use two words where only one is required. I returned back to Hyderabad 2 days ago. Now I'm using the word returned back. Return and back means the same. Return means come back. So you're saying come back. Two times back we don't need. So you say, I returned to Hyderabad 2 days ago. Or I came back to Hyderabad 2 days ago. Return back we don't use. You borrow a book from the library. Then you say, I have to return back this book next week. Not return back. I have to return this book next week, or I have to give back this book next week. I have to give back this book to the library next week. So, this is called redundancy. Very often we use words which are not necessary. I also explained to you in family relations that we don't have the concept of saying cousin brother, cousin sister. Very often this is used. So, this is all vocabulary which you have to learn. You say that here is my cousin. She is, Nina. So when you're saying she, automatically it's cousin sister. So, but you're saying cousin. Similarly, you have brother. Suppose you say, this is Nikhil. This is my cousin. He's Nikhil. Or meet my cousin Nikhil. So, cousin brother, automatically understood from the name. So, we don't use words which are unnecessary, which are not to be used. Very often we miss out the apostrophe. I explained in the video on nouns very clearly about apostrophe use in possessive. Very often you say, I'm going to my uncle's house. Now, uncle house is not correct. It is uncle's house. So here, the usage is very important. Of course, it's a grammar item, but in vocabulary also, we need to learn that house belonging to uncle. Uncle house is something which we don't have at all. Very often, words have more than one meaning. You have to be very careful when you use those words. Suppose you say, I want a book, then it is possible that you are talking about a book to read. But suppose you say, I need to book, then you might be talking about a ticket. I need to book a ticket, whether it is a train ticket or a flight ticket or a bus ticket. The same verb book is used. So I want to book a ticket. Where you say, I want to book or I want a book, you can see how the meaning has changed completely. The word is the same, spelling B-O-O-K, pronunciation book, no difference in spelling, no difference in pronunciation, but difference in meaning. We shall do all this in vocabulary, especially in advanced vocabulary, because in the basic level, correctness is not so important. Today, I'm talking about accurate English only to people who have mastered the basics of English. If you have become fluent and you are able to express your thoughts in English, then only you should come to accuracy. Please remember that if you start your journey of a language with accuracy in mind, you cannot learn, very easily. You keep stumbling by saying that I'm making mistakes. So I recommend that you go for fluency first. Speak the language, make mistakes, don't be frightened of making mistakes, but slowly become aware of mistakes, correct your mistakes if you want your language to be better and better, if you want to reach excellence. If you're happy with an average English, if you're happy with an English which is slightly lower than the standard English, if you feel you don't really need excellent English, then accuracy is not necessary. But for accuracy, you need the foundations. So, all the videos which I'm making are trying to give you the foundation. I find that there are many channels, very popular ones, which give you, 5 tricks to learn English, 10 tricks to learn English, English in half an hour. Now, these kind of things are only for a short period of time. Even if you are 60, 70 years old, some of you are saying that we are very old, but we want to learn English. Please remember, your lifespan might be 100 years old, 100 years. So you have another 40 years to learn English. No hurry. Please take your time. Maybe a 6 months, maybe a year. If you want to take a little time and learn, that would be much better. If you concentrate on those areas which you're making mistakes in, you will have much better English. So now let me tell you what are the steps to accuracy. I gave you what you require: grammar and vocabulary and pronunciation. If you want accurate speaking, I will make many videos on writing. There I will talk about accurate writing also, basics of writing, and then accuracy, and more formal and more creative writing, critical writing, etc. But here we are only talking about how to speak accurately. So once you have mastered grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, then you come to the next step. You analyze your own speaking and the speeches of others. Once you take the speeches of others, if they are using good English, you learn from them. If they are making mistakes, also you learn from them. So, step number one is to observe, to analyze. Step number two is to point out that there are mistakes. In the first step, we become a little uncomfortable. Okay, I made a mistake. But in the second one, we become aware of the mistake, the exact mistake, or approximately what could be the mistake. And the third level is where you require your foundation. And the foundation is all the other videos which I have made, where you are able to not only spot your mistake, but you're able to correct your mistake also. This is most important. So, as you make mistakes, you teach yourself, you correct your mistake. Whenever you make a mistake, you stop. I can say that this place is called a city. Very often we make a mistakes. I might make many mistakes in the use of sentences because I also learn English not as my mother tongue. So we can say this is called as a city. Now, there, as is not necessary. This is called a city. Hyderabad is a city, so it is called a city. We are not using the word, this is called as. There, while speaking quickly and using extra words, using words which are unnecessary, we are making a mistake. So, this awareness of the mistake and the ability to correct the mistake is very important for accuracy. In accuracy, practice is most important. Please remember that unless you practice listening and speaking at least for an hour every day, it is difficult to get accuracy. So listen more, speak more, even if you are listening to something on your own, not with others, even if you're speaking to yourself, you can do this. But you have to have the right motivation. You have to have the right desire to learn. You should be willing to invest your time. Somebody wrote a comment saying, I joined many classes, but I didn't learn English. The investment is not money, please understand. You might spend a lot of money, but I'm not asking you for money. Many of you want online classes. Can you imagine me taking online classes for lakhs of people who have been watching my videos earlier? They run into millions, the impact videos and others. But those are general lectures. I never tried to teach English in those videos. I just tried to give a lecture which was maybe an hour or half an hour or 45 minutes. Here in this classroom, I'm trying to teach you the language how it is supposed to be learned. Therefore, even if you get tired of watching videos which are a little dull, maybe for you, but please remember that those are important. That is the foundation. If an engineer makes a mess of a foundation of a building, that building cannot stand. It will come down. So it is like that for our English also. If our foundation is not good, we cannot learn. So improve your grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. The videos are already uploaded on this channel. Please watch them again and again. Watching is not enough, practice is important. Once you do this, you will find that your English has become much better. And there, each day you're learning better English on your own. You're not making an effort to improve your English. Your English is improving on its own. That is the path to accuracy. So I want all of you to aim for accuracy. For some, it might take only a few weeks or a month. For others, it might take a few months or a year. Don't be disheartened. Continue to be motivated. I'm trying to prepare videos for you which will keep you motivated. And I'm telling you also how important self learning is. You don't really need me to hold your hand, you can do it yourself. I'm there only as a support. The whole effort is yours. So please listen carefully. Please listen repeatedly. Share it with all of the others who you know who would like to learn accurate English and try to improve by watching those videos which make your foundation strong. Thank you and all the best.